Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. Actually, it's Memorial Day, so I hope everyone takes the time to honor those who have served and given their lives for our freedom and for our country. I am currently just made it home. Status post 24-hour shift. It was absolutely insane from the time that I got there until things didn't start to die down until maybe like 3 a.m. So I'm exhausted, but I did get about like an hour of sleep if you piece it together. And then I decided to drive back home to Miami, which actually wasn't too bad considering it's a holiday. So it legit just took me only an hour and I wasn't sleepy at all. But to recap, and I actually recorded my entire day because I'm supposed to be making a reel for one of the brands that I represent, actually Metalita proudly. But I woke up around 6, received a text message from my co-resident shortly after that said to just come to Trauma Bay when I arrived to the hospital. I had spent the last few nights in the other city, so I was already there and close by. So I get to the hospital around 6:50. We start at 7. And I mean, there's already multiple traumas going in the bay. So me and the senior resident who was on with me for the day, he decided to handle Trauma Bay that yesterday morning. And I went up to the trauma ICU to get to know all the patients and be ready for rounds with the trauma attending intensivist that was on, because there was a different trauma attending for the trauma alerts. So I spent yesterday morning in the ICU, getting to know patients, handling all that, trying to think. There were multiple trauma alerts going on. Each time I would either go down or ask if he was good. If he had it, he had it. But, sometimes we get hit with like 3 or 4 at once. So, you just have to go and check. Who did I round with? I can't even remember rounding. Oh, I did round with the trauma attending. And that went well. Did all the notes for the ICU patients. I think it wasn't that bad. Maybe around like 12 or 13. It was a smaller list than usual, but not super small. Did all those orders, made sure everything was tied up. And then it was around maybe 12 that I finally got to just sit. And I went to Starbucks and I actually got I don't drink coffee. That's one thing people don't know about me. But I do drink hot cocoa. So I do this turtle hot cocoa at Starbucks. And it's 4 pumps of chocolate, 3 pumps caramel, and 2 of hazelnut. But it really keeps me going because it's just straight sugar. So I finally got that around 12. And then I got called to do a whole bunch of other stuff. And then I made it back to the cafeteria and got me a Subway pizza. Maybe around like 1 or 2. And then around like 4 or 5 traumas kept coming. I wanted the senior resident to be able to, take off because it's just been insanity. So I went down to the bay and it was just non-stop. So basically from 5 p.m. until maybe, I think it was 1 a.m., I was in the bay, non-stop transfers from outside hospitals, plus trauma alerts because holiday weekend, so you have your motor vehicle collisions, you have your standard falls, and then there were ER upgrades where the patient comes into the ER, but they find things like fractures or something crazy, and so then they change them into a trauma. And then at 7 p.m., since I was on a 24, I actually take over the acute care surgery service, as well as I covered vascular at that time. So there was actually a general surgery consult that came in that was going to the OR last night. So for me, it was just insanity. Like I told the attending, I was like, listen, I cannot go to the OR tonight. because I booked everything, got it ready, but between the traumas and figuring out ICU, which was getting overwhelmed, as well as the step-down unit was getting overwhelmed, and the nurses were asking me who we could transfer out or downgrade. So I had to deal with that. I was not going to operate. But finally, around 1 a.m., and I only remember this because I put a 1 in the video I took, I was finally able to eat something and drink something. And for me, my days are insane when I realize that I haven't gone to the bathroom all day. I'm like, okay, I'm really dehydrated. So finally ate, drank something, handled the traumas, finally made it to the unit to meet the night nurses who had been texting me and asking me questions all night to see what I could help with. There were a few that went to the OR yesterday. And then around 3 or 4 a.m., I think everything was finally tied up. There were no more alerts coming in. So I made myself a little bed in the patient family room just because we have call rooms, but like I said, they're not in the actual hospital close to the trauma bay. They're in the psych part of the hospital, which is a hike, and you actually cannot hear trauma alerts there. So I like to stay by the ICU, so I just made myself a makeshift bed in one of the patient rooms that has a lock on the door. And then I laid down around 4, set my alarm for 6, and still got called and paged constantly about things. But in between the interruptions, I will say that I was able to get in a good hour of sleep because I felt fine enough to make the drive back home today. And I knew, like, with it being a holiday, there wouldn't be traffic. And now I'm going to go and take a shower. I ate a little sausage sandwich while I was driving. I did stop by the cafeteria. And then I'm going to go to sleep and hopefully wake up. I want to plan to wake up around like 12 or 1. I like to try to get 3 to 4 hours on days when I'm post, so we'll see how that goes. And then I just want to enjoy the day, but not going to partake in any events or anything of that sort. I just want to be lazy. But I'm going to see if I can upload some of the little snips I took throughout the day so you guys can get an idea. But basically it's just trauma bay, walking around. The rare times I got to eat. But I'm tired. I'm probably not even making sense right now, but it is what it is. I hope everyone has a great week. And as always, please subscribe if you like what you see, if you want to see more. And until next time, everybody, have a good one.